Hello and good morning. Welcome to the MLM Lunchtime Leadership Show. So we are on a new book this month called High Performance Habits by Brendon Burchard. This has been a good book so far. And before we get started in this book, we're going to go ahead and invite some people on here.
What's happening, Dave? Dave Roeder from California is on with us. Welcome. So we need to send these invites in. There is not a faster way to do it. I've checked. How was everyone's 4th of July and the weekend? Hopefully you had a great time. Adam Thompson. Shimmick. Well, let us know in the comments how your weekend was. Happy 4th to everyone.
Yeah. Hopefully you guys were able to go see some fireworks. I know a lot of places canceled due to the virus, but if you were lucky enough to go see a couple fireworks shows. Alrighty. There we go. Alright, so.
See what's happening. Shamala's here. Hello, hello.
Actually, I think you were going to go over the introductory.
Yeah, so I'm going to hit the introduction here real quick, so we'll get rolling. And I move the comments out of the way so we can actually see what's going on. So, high performance habits, how extraordinary people become that way. So, Brandon basically did a study. This is a 20-year study of his coaching clients, along with interviews that he's had throughout his 20-year career. It says this book is basically 20 years of research about high performers. What you need is a reliable set of practices for unleashing your greatness and ability. I was taught this by a different person about that you need a system to bypass your basic natural human instincts. And I'll probably hint on that, and we need to cover that book too. There's like 3 books that gentleman wrote. A study of high performers. And you will see, if you study high performers, you will see that they have systems built into their days that drive their success. Systems are what separate the pros from the novices and science from armchair philosophy. So these are the guys who really sat down and studied it. Without systems, you cannot test hypothesis, track progress, or repeatedly deliver exceptional results. He said, there's a list of stuff that's worked for, centuries, that not necessarily is just working today. He goes, it's gotten a little fuzzy, right? Just because of all the technology and all the connections and all the immediate, reactions that what's not working. He said, the old school way was just work hard, be passionate, focus on your strengths, practice a lot, stick to it, be great at what you do. These are common philosophies that we're told. He goes, which are all still good and all still apply. He goes, but there are other things that need to be implemented if you want to get to the high performer stage. He goes, asking the right questions. He goes, there's certain questions you need to ask to figure this out. He goes, number 1, why do some individuals and teams succeed more quickly than others and sustain that success long term? Because there are winning teams that win year after year after year after, well, maybe not this year, but year after year after year. Why is that? There are some people who make money regardless of what's going on. There are some people's businesses succeed regardless of, COVID did not hurt them. In fact, in some cases, it helped people, which is weird, but it did. 2, those who pull it off, why are some miserable and others happy with the journey? Because there are people who are building businesses right now that are extremely successful that are miserable people. There's a lot of miserable people in the world. We're not going to get into talking about them. But there are. Marty, what's happening? Izzy's here. Tristan's here. Sorry, I removed the comments. We'll bring them back because I forgot that way we can say hi to you. What motivates people to reach their higher levels of success in the first place, and what kinds of habits, training, support help them improve faster? So this is just questions you want to ask yourself. Here's what 20 years of experience has given Brandon. Adam Green's here. What's up, sir? With the right habits, anyone can drastically or dramatically increase results and become a high performance in almost any endeavor. Now, this is somewhat true. And what I mean by somewhat true is if you're 350 pounds and you're a big guy and you're 6'4", and you just, haven't been doing much of anything physically, you're not going to be an Olympic star. That's just not going to happen. You're also not going to be a jockey, right? Typically, if you're that size, if you're over a certain height, you're not going to be a race car driver. Why is that? You wouldn't fit in the car. So with certain habits, I like what he's saying, but there are physical sometimes limits to it. High performance is not strongly correlated with age, education, income, race, nationality, or gender. Anyone can learn them, regardless of their experience, strength, personality, or position. Again, we're talking about direct sales and network marketing, so the nice thing is it is open for everybody. Anybody from any background can succeed. You have to find the right company and the right people to work with, of course. Two, not all habits are created equal. It turns out that there are bad habits, good habits, better habits, and best habits for realizing your full potential in your life and career. It matters which practices in your life come first and how they are arranged to create effective habits. The same thing is true if I wanted to go win the world championship in sumo wrestling. It's not going to happen. Why? Is it because I don't like sumo wrestling? No, it's just because I don't have the physical stature to do it. So again, some of these are limited. 3, achievement is not your problem. Alignment is. It says if you're reading these words, then the odds are that achievement is not the issue. 2 questions. How do I achieve more? That's how most people go into this. How do I achieve more? Patricia Henry's here. Hello. How do you achieve more? Well, there's different ways to achieve more. You can work harder, you can do more, you can move up the ranks. But here's a better question. It says, how would I like to live? So if you're going to design your life, you're going to design your lifestyle, how do you want that to be? So you want to be successful inside of direct sales and network marketing. Well, it's not really what level you get to that determines your happiness or determines your success. It's how you're living. If your goal was basically to pay off all your debt, then you got exactly what you wanted. An interesting thing that Dan Pena teaches is whatever you wanted, whatever you aim for, you will never get more than that. Whatever you aim for, you'll never get more than that. If you aim for 100,000, you're never getting 101,000. Maybe 101, but that's as far as you go. You're not going to get to 10 million. You're not going to get to 1 million. You're not going to get to 100 million. But if you aim for 100 million, you're probably not going to make 200. It's just kind of how that works. So aim is important. What is achievable is not always what's important. What's achievable is not always what's important. So it depends on what's important to that person. And getting it and knowing that you got it. Tony Robbins talked about that a lot. He's like, there are certain people that have what they originally wanted, but they're not really aware of their surroundings and what's going on and don't realize they've already achieved what they're working for. And they're kind of miserable, right? They're miserable because they're like, oh, I hit it and it doesn't seem to be here. Well, it's because you're not. There's 2 things. There's the science of achievement, but there's also the art of fulfillment. Fulfillment is an art. You have to design that. That comes with a lot of external effort and internal effort. So too many people. 4, certainty is the enemy of growth and high performance. This one I don't agree with. I'm going to get more into what he's talking about, but there's certain things that I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. It says too many people want certainty amid the chaos of the world. So I understand that you want everything to work out perfect. And I think that's what he's saying. He's saying, perfection. Certainty is different. Certainty is necessary for success. If you're not certain that you're going to figure it out, you're probably not even going to attempt it. The person who is certain is most closed to learning most vulnerable to dogma, and most likely to be blindsided. I think certainty should be taken out for perfection. I think that's what he's talking about, but we'll read the rest of the book and find out. 5, technology won't save us. It says tools cannot replace wisdom. Tools can't replace wisdom. There's no computer algorithm for a gut judgment call. Amid all the excitement about technology improving our lives, it turns out that what does the job better than anything else is simple human habits of high performance. So once you get there, you know better than the algorithm. You know better than the business. What is high performance? It says, for the purpose of this book, high performance refers to succeeding beyond standard norms consistently over the long term. It says, what do we know about high performance? So this is a list of just things that we know about them. High performers are basically more successful than their peers, yet they're less stressed. Well, that'd be good. High performers love challenge and are more confident that they will achieve their goals despite adversity. High performers are healthier than their peers. It says they eat better, they work out more. The top 5% of high performers are 40% more likely to exercise 3 times per week. When it comes to that, we've actually studied that, also high performers, people who work out out-earn their peers by about 26%. People who work out and eat better and take care of their health out-earn their surrounding peers by about 26%. That comes from another book, something about influence. I think it's called Influence. 4, high performers are happy. 5, high performers are admired. 6, high performers get better grades and reach higher positions of success inside of companies. 7, high performers work passionately regardless of traditional rewards. 8, high performers are assertive for the right reasons. 9, high performers see and serve beyond their strengths. 10, high performers are uniquely productive. They mastered the prolific output. 11, high performers are adaptive servant leaders. It says they don't just develop the skill, they develop people. When you knock on the door of opportunities, this was just a really good quote. It says, when you knock on the door of opportunity, do not be surprised it's work who answers. And, there's a saying that says, the only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. To succeed, always remember that the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Tim, what's happening? How's Wisconsin going? What to do right now? It says, number 1, take the high performance indicator test. So you can go online and take that test. Got to do that. He said, next, read the next 2 chapters. That's kind of suggestive to stay on the book, of course. So that's what I got for the intro, and then off to you.
All right. So I'm going to go ahead with chapter 1. So the quest for high performance. So don't bother just to be better than your contemporaries or your predecessors. Try to be better than yourself. So you'll see that success in general in almost any endeavor is made possible by malleable factors, things that you could change and improve with effort. So a couple examples of those are the mindset you choose to adopt, the focus you give your passions and your persistence and the persistence you pursue, the amount of practice you dedicate yourself to, the way you understand and treat others, the discipline and consistency with which you strive for your goals, the way you bounce back from losses, and the amount of physical exercise you do to keep your brain and body fit and your overall well-being to care for. So success is achieved not by a specific type of person, but rather it's by the people from all walks of life who enact specific set of practices. So finding what matters. So motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. You're not going to be motivated every single day, and that's what I like about little practices. When you create a habit, it's very hard to break it. And habits are usually created within 90 days. Like we talked about working out. It takes about 6 weeks, I'd say, to create a habit. Is that correct?
21 days.
21 days. That's what it is. 21 days to create a habit, but it's really the 90 days of consistent 21 days. to create the habit, but usually after 90 days, you're pretty much stuck on that habit, which is a good thing. So high performers do things differently from the way others do, and their practices can be replicated across projects regardless of your personality, your past, or your performances from the past. So if you want to reach higher levels of performance in anything that you do, you must consistently do the following, which number one is seek clarity. So on who you want to be, how you want to interact with others, what you want, and what you are willing to bring, what will bring you the greatest meaning, what kind of person, hold on here. What kind of person do I want to be while I'm doing this? How should I treat others? How are my interactions and objectives? And what can I focus on that will bring me the sense of connection and fulfillment? So high performers ask these questions not only in the beginning, but they ask these constantly throughout their career, so that way they have clarity at all times. We talked about this in John Maxwell's book, the last book that we went over, Failing Forward. You constantly want to be reevaluating your goals and making sure that you're staying on track, because as you get better with stuff and you get out of your comfort zone and trying more and more things, you have to reevaluate, because once you go into a new stage of life, you have to sometimes look over everything and be like, am I on track? And is this still what I want? Number two, generate energy. So you need to care for your mental stamina, physical energy, and positive emotions. That's where going to the gym and eating right come into play. Like if you don't have that, it's very hard to run at a fast pace. If you're not drinking enough water, if 2% dehydration, 2% of dehydration affects 90% of your brain functionality. And most people don't drink enough water. We go drink soda, we drink a lot of coffee, but it really affects your mental state and you are not as sharp as you should be. Number three, raise the necessity for exceptional performance. So this means activity, tapping into reasons you absolutely must perform well. Number four, increase productivity in your primary field of interest. So focus on the area you want to be known and drive impact. So what exactly do you want to be? So we're talking about network marketing here. Which position do you want to get to, and how do you want to affect everybody else in the sales, in the workplace? Number five, develop influence with those around you. So getting the people to support your efforts and ambitions. If you don't develop a positive support network, major achievements over the long haul are all but impossible. So developing influence with the people around you. People want to work with people that they know, like, and trust. If you don't establish that trust with people in the beginning, you're going to run through a lot of people. So there's some people in the industry who are really good at getting people in, but they're not good at keeping them in. And they're constantly running through tons and tons of people. And the excuse always seems to be, they're like, well, I don't have time to build relationships with people. And I'm like, well, honestly, with all the time that you're spending trying to get new people all the time, if you just put a little bit of effort into the people that are working with you, you wouldn't have to work so hard. But sometimes that's almost a self-confidence thing. Like they don't feel worthy of somebody, or they just don't like people, which is sometimes the case. So a lot of times when we see that in the marketplace, it's like, okay, well, what is the issue here? Is it that you don't care for people, or is it something else? Number six, demonstrate courage by expressing your ideas and taking bold action and standing up for yourself and others, even if you face, in the face of fear, uncertainty, threat, and changing conditions. So courage is not an occasional act, but a trait of choice and will. So those are the 6 things that he goes over. So strengths or talents alone are never enough. Excuse me. So we've also talked about this in John's book. Sometimes talents are not enough. You could be really good at something, but sometimes it's the people with the natural talent who have a harder time achieving in life because they are already so good they see no reason to improve. And the people without the talents seem to strive and become better. So, but what he comments on this is to reach exceptional performance and win over a long term, you will be required to develop a well beyond what is easy or natural to you, because the real world is full of uncertainty and ever-increasing demands for growth. So if you have good ambitions and contribute extraordinary things, you'll grow and stretch far beyond your what's natural to you. So to rise to high performance, you'll have to work on the weaknesses and develop entirely new skills and set beyond what you find easy or what you would like to do. So if you want to make your mark, you'll have to grow more and give more, and that won't feel easy or natural at all. So I get what he's saying here, and what he goes into, like, I do believe you should focus on your strengths, because there's some things that I am just not good at. And I learned about it enough to where I'm knowledgeable of the subject or knowledgeable of something, but there's just some people on my team that are just better at certain things. And that's why we like to recruit people who have strengths that I don't have, because that way, if we bring somebody onto the team, I know that I can send that person to the other and say, actually, you know what? I know about it, but you know who's better with that subject? This person. Like, you want to be knowledgeable about everything, and you want to work on stuff, because sometimes, like, I could use myself as an example. I grew up in a small town in northern Wisconsin that only had 40 people in it. My knowledge of pretty much everything was like this. And I had to stretch what I knew, because if I stayed here just within what I was comfortable with and what I was good at, I wouldn't have gone anywhere. So what he's saying is not so much completely dropping your strengths, but not completely relying on them either. So you want to stretch and become better and better, so that way when you do work with people, it's you're going to add more value to your team, is what I'm trying to say. So high performance is not about specific type of person. So it's not about hitting the genetic lottery, how long have you worked, the shade of your skin, and how many people are supporting you, or what are you getting paid. It's about your performance habits, which you have complete control over. So too many people use these factors to explain their poor performance, and you hear it everywhere. They're like, well, I can't get anywhere because of my age, I can't get anywhere because of this or that, or there's politics involved, and there's so many different excuses, but a lot of people like to use these excuses to justify why they're not getting anywhere. And you have to get out of that mindset that that's the reason why. So the bottom line is, if you're going to focus on anything to improve you and your team's performance, you want to start with these 6 things that we just talked about. And he calls it the HP6. So if I mention that, that's what it is. That list that I went over of the 6 things, that's what he's talking about. Let's see. So a rising tide lifts all boats. So one habit lifts all others. So to improve one of these habits, you'll improve your performance in all the other areas. And the higher your score in any of these habits, the greater are the odds of you reporting happy in life. So people who produce effectively tend to be more happier, because if you start to achieve in any area, you do feel happier, because when you get that sense of fulfillment, it's going to trickle into all other areas of your life. That's why they say if you work out, your chances of being depressed while working out consistently is almost non-existent. And is there a high performance state of mind? So emotional and mental states don't endure, but habits do. what are the habits that you're setting into place that are keeping you on track? So, because you're not always going to be motivated every single day. There are some days I don't want to make calls. I don't feel like it. However, the best way to set that up is just like with this show, we do this every day, Monday through Friday at 11:30 a.m. and this is what makes us do what we're supposed to do, because we found that if we don't do this, we don't do a very good job of reading, so this actually forces us to produce, and it's a habit that we have now. And the same thing you have to do when you're trying to do presentations. A lot of people are like, well, I just can't seem to get motivated to make my calls. You're never going to be motivated. If you wait each time to when you're motivated to do something, you're never going to get it done. And you're not going to produce at a high enough level to actually get somewhere. You're not going to beat attrition, and you're not going to attract the people that you want to be able to build a team. So that's why setting up a habit of like, this is what I'm going to do, I find it's best to set a time. A lot of you have a full-time job already, or at least most of you before COVID. You want to set a time of like, okay, no matter what, I'm going to do these calls at this time from this time. And that's what you do. No matter what, that is what needs to get done. Some of you need another person to actually make you do it. Like, be like, are you on the phone right now? Or do we need to go meet somewhere to do these calls? I find sometimes getting out of your comfort, your space where you're comfortable, like when you're at home, a lot of us have been home, and actually go meeting somewhere, it helps tremendously. So we've had a couple of people that we've talked to during this whole quarantine where we actually had to physically go somewhere and actually do the calls. And I'm like, if I don't get you out of your house and actually have you go with me to do these, you're not going to do them. So setting up times with your team where it's like, look, this is a time that we're going to do this every week. Why don't you come? And that way you can listen, and then you can produce. And some people just need that. So with that, that's what I have for this chapter. Do you have any comments on this?
No.
No?
Chris Reed, what's happening? Tag, what's going on? Hope you guys had a great 4th of July weekend. Hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right.
Hasta luego.
And we're going to put the notes in. If you haven't subscribed to the notes, I'm going to put a link in the comments below. We take notes on each chapter and we send those out to the database. So if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do that. And we will see you tomorrow.